This ends the 5-year war. I am myself once more. I can go where I please, I can come where I please, I can flit, fly, and flutter like the birds in the trees, because I'm no man's mama now. I can say what I like, I can do what I like. I'm a gal who is on a matrimonial strike, which means I'm no man's mama now. I'm screaming there, I know how a fella feels getting out of jail. I've got twin beds, and I take pleasure in announcing one's for sale. Am I making it plain? I will never again drag around another ball and chain, because I'm no man's mama now. Play that blues. I can smile, I can wink, I can go take a drink, and I don't have to worry what my hubby will think, because I'm no man's mama now. Are you getting what I'm telling you? I can scream what I choose, I can play and sing the blues, and there's nobody messing with my ones and my twos, because I'm no man's mama now. I tell you, there was a time I used to think that men were grand. Well, no more for mine. I've gone and labeled my apartment no man's land. I got rid of my cat, cause the cat's name was Pat. Don't even have a mailbox in my flat, because I'm no man's mama now. You are getting it. Am I making it plain? I will never again drag around another ball and chain, because I'm no man's mama now.
I say this every time I'm up here. I don't know why I need to look at it, but good morning.
Good morning.
I'm sorry, did I hear something? No. Good morning.
Good morning.
Better. All right. Welcome to the live in-person and live Zoom worship service of the Universalist Unitarian Church of Riverside. Our opening hymn this morning is 1074, Turn the World Around, from the Teal hymnal. Feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you. Please stand in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn 1074, Turn the World Around.
Come from the fire, living in the fire. Go back to the fire, turn the world around. We come from the water, living in the water. Go back to the water, turn the world around. We come from the mountain, living on the mountain. Go back to the mountain, turn the world around. Whoa, so is life. Ah, so is life. Whoa, so is life. Ah, so is life. Do you know who I am? Do I know who you are? See we one another clearly. Do we know who we are? Do you know who I am? See we one another clearly. Do we know who we are? See we one another clearly. See we one another clearly. Do we know who we are? Whoa, so is life about you. watch the mountain fire make the sunlight turn the world around. Hardest of the river body is the mountain spirit, is the sunlight turn the world around. We are of the spirit, truly of the spirit, only can the spirit turn the world around. Whoa, so is life a batiwa, so is life. Whoa, so is life a batiwa.
Thank you, Alec, for leading. Thank you for joining us here in person, and thank you for joining us remotely by Zoom, where we will continue live streaming and posting of these services on our YouTube channel for our virtual attendees. I'm Nick Williams, a member of the worship committee, and I will be your worship associate today. This will be my last appearance here, live or otherwise, for about 2 months. I'm having surgery next Friday on my back, and so you'll notice I sit down during the hymns. That's because it's difficult for me to stand for long periods of time. But I look forward to rejoining you after this a successful operation, and I'm glad to see you all here this morning. Other members of the worship committee who make this service possible include Alec Peck, our music coordinator, Adam Wedeking, who monitors our visual and online connections, and Kate Lewicki, who is in charge of our sound system. We invite you to join us this morning with an open mind and heart, and with muted electronic devices, please. This is a place where we come to learn more about being in relationship with one another and how we can apply our values to encourage individual and collective growth. Welcome. We are glad you are here. Before we move into the service, there are a few announcements we would like to share. We will mention several websites, email addresses, phone numbers. At the end of the service, we will leave up a slide with all this information, and it is available on our website. We will start with 3 events happening next Sunday. Join us next week after the service for the first Sunday luncheon. Next week, the theme will be Easter lunch. Vegetarian and gluten-free choices will be available. All donations are welcome. I think they mean additional donations of food? I don't know. It's a mystery. We'll look into that.
Somebody wants to donate. I've got 3 items we need for lunch.
Okay, so Dinah back there, she has 3 items she needs donated for the luncheon. So see her if you feel you can help. Thank you very much. Next Sunday, joys and concerns will be shared during the service. A discussion on the ongoing peace series will be held on the first Sunday of the month from 12 to 1 p.m. in the sanctuary following the luncheon. The next discussion will be next Sunday, April 6th. Church Council meets on the second Friday of the month in the annex. The meeting will be at 5:30 p.m. on April 11th. That's Saturday. I'm sorry. There's a Walking for Immigrant Justice, Saturday, April 12th at 10 a.m. You meet at the Martin Luther King statue on Main Street and walk to St. Francis de Sales Catholic Church. I now would like to invite Adam, the chair of our Social and Environmental Justice Committee, to talk about an important event happening tomorrow.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Last week, during our pledge drive, I talked about the importance of being active in our community, not just as individuals, but as UUs. And this here is an opportunity to do that. Tomorrow, March 31st, is Transgender Day of Visibility. We have a powerful opportunity to show up in love and solidarity. Our faith calls us to support transgender, non-binary, intersex, and gender diverse siblings, not just in words, but in action. This is an important opportunity for us to do that. For those of you who haven't done it yet, I really encourage you to read the business resolution that the UUA voted on last year on the importance of supporting transgender and gender diverse individuals. And this is an opportunity for us to do it. When you get there, and in fact, we just before this, he talked about the Walking for Immigrant Justice. For any of these rallies and marches, if you're looking for where are the UUs, where is UUCR at that rally, just look for this. So if you're out there, look for this and march with the rest of UUCR. Thank you.
Welcome to all our visitors and welcome back to our old friends. That doesn't mean you have to be old to be a friend. Just want to clarify. We would love to meet you during coffee hour after the service. Our time together is brief, but it is filled with joy. In that spirit, I invite you to turn to those around you, greet them, welcome them, share that joy. For those on Zoom, please use the Zoom wave gesture or just wave at your camera. We love to chat with you out in the parish hall, those of you who are here, where you can also find our visitors book. Please leave your name before you leave so that we know you were here, and leave your contact information if you want updates on church events. There will also be a short discussion after the service to share your reflections with us on today's service. For those online, the best way to get added to the mailing list is to email the church office at admin@uuchurchofriverside.org. And now, I invite you to sit back. Take a slow, deep breath as we move into the worship hour. You're welcome to read with me the mission statement of our church. Our mission is to foster a diverse religious community that celebrates life, affirms the individual, encourages spiritual growth and open thought, and works to advance social justice and environmental sustainability. Today's sermon was written by Reverend Kimberly Debus. Reverend Kimberly Debus is a community minister based in Tacoma Park, Maryland, inspiring an artful and art-filled faith. Describing herself, she says, "I am many things at many times. Professionally, a writer, editor, singer, actor, director, designer, muse, and minister. Having served in a congregation, I am now a community minister working with congregations in the area of arts and worship. Personally, a queer cisgendered woman who loves art, theater, film, books, television, music. Spiritually, a seeker, a journeyer, a radical universalist with process tendencies, and in the true wrestles with God meaning, a daughter of Israel. My home is Unitarian Universalism. Mentally, I am a deep thinker, a minister, a chanteuse.
It means pop singer.
Oh, okay. Thank you. After the spur of the hashtag #MeToo movement in 2018, Reverend Debus was inspired to rewrite this sermon to reflect a systematic sexism and gender inequality, to reflect on systematic sexism and gender inequality. Women's personal freedoms are under even more threat now, and we must reflect deeply, confront discomfort, and work towards a beloved community of justice, dignity, and interdependence. We must validate our righteous anger and channel it into empowerment and collective action. On this final weekend of Women's History Month, let's reflect on how we, through our collective effort, can create a more just and equitable society. We have two lightings of sacred flame. The first is a remembrance candle for the indigenous peoples who continue to cry out for justice and self-determination. We remember that underneath us is the unceded land of several indigenous peoples, the Cahuilla, the Luiseño, and the Capeño. We light the sacred flame in their remembrance and in recognition of their ongoing struggle for freedom and dignity.
We willed this candle.
Oh, praise the Lord. Thank you, Bill. Well done. Our second sacred flame is our own chalice, a symbol of our faith. We are blessed with this space and an opportunity to strive to live out our common principles, to bring justice, equality, and compassion into our daily lives, to resist all that threatens the earth and her people, and to be part of a world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Let these thoughts carry us forth as we journey and worship together. All right. Today's chalice lighting words are from the prayer from Saving Democracy by Carol Thomas Sissel. Source of sources, sweet spirit of light and love, help us bear witness to the pain of those we mark as others. Unclench our fists so that we can applaud the tenacity and triumphs of those we repeatedly marginalize. Pour acceptance and strength into our hearts and lead us to share them with those we carelessly exclude and devalue. May it be so. Our hymn now is number 1020, Woyaya, from the Teal hymnal. Feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you. Please stand in body or spirit and join us in singing 1020, Wayaya.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know when then we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Wayaya, 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 we are going. Heaven knows where we are going, but we know we're there. We will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Wayaya, 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 wayaya,
This portion of our service is to support a beloved historical church. This can be accomplished in several ways. In addition to the weekly collection, you may send your checks to the church address, which is shown here. You may contribute by PayPal using the QR code, which is shown here, as well as on the church website and in the newsletter. Stater Brothers Market gives our church a rebate on Stater Groceries cards. Stater Groceries cards, which we will have in the church each Sunday. You get the full value, and the church also receives a percentage for free. Please see Dinah Rowe or Robert Bond in the church office if you are interested in purchasing the gift cards. Dinah Rowe will be out there today after the service, and Robert is in the office through the week. Please donate as the Spirit moves you by whatever method works best for you. Thank you for your generosity. To those who give of their time and their talent, thank you for your generous care and attention. To all of you who have joined us here today, thank you for the gift of your presence. Will our ushers now please come forward to receive the collection? A tote bag will also be passed around to collect food and hygiene items for our local community. Our next hymn is number 402, From You I Receive, from the Gray Hymnal. Feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you. Please stand in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn number 402, From You I Receive.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
Our meditation today is by a prayer for me too. I invite you to take a moment to relax. Sit back and, if you wish, gently close your eyes for the meditation. Spirit of life and of love, Holy One that reaches wide to encompass all beings, hold us yourself in this moment. We come to this place carrying so much in our hearts. Around us we hear the laments of a broken world, torn by fire, storm, strife, crying, I too have suffered. I too have been hurt and oppressed by power, by pain, by loss, by neglect. We open our ears and lift up the words of all who join in this sorrowful song, Me Too. Spirit, comfort us. Descend around us as a cloud of peace and compassion. Abide with us in our mourning. Help us to gather ourselves, to face each day with bravery or equanimity, or even just to face it all. Help make each movement lighter, less leaden. Give us the grace to once again give thanks, and the strength to be kind to ourselves over and over. One day, may our cries of shared sorrow give way to songs of joy. May we sing, I too am healing my broken heart. I too see the faces of justice and mercy. I too am filled with light, love, and compassion. Me too. Blessed be and amen. Now let us pause for a moment of silence. Now, I would like to introduce Alec Peck, reading the sermon, Reclaiming My Time, by Reverend Kimberly Debus. This is a pre-written sermon and is not Alex's words.
Morning. Thank you all. Thank you, Nick. As mentioned, these are not my words, and though I might not agree with them, I happen to in this case. And I couldn't help it. I added a couple of my own comments, which I've tried to make clear when I'm speaking for myself and not in Reverend Debus's voice, but I'll also try to give a little signal. So, the TV show, The West Wing, was on my mind a lot these last days, particularly because it's such a well-crafted show, but also because it serves as a reminder of our highest aspirations of what good governance can look like. If you know anything about the show, which I, Alec, personally don't, that it centers around the administration of President Josiah Bartlett, played by Martin Sheen. President Bartlett is smart as a whip, deeply religious, and a gregarious people pleaser. That can be good at times, but at other times can be a problem. As the press secretary notes on the morning of a televised debate, what happens next, for good or ill, quote, depends on who shows up. If it's Uncle Fluffy, she says, we've got problems. But if the president shows up, I think it might be a sight to see. A lot of the time when I preach, I offer messages of healing and spiritual growth, community and covenant, kindness and generosity. And sometimes I wonder if I am too much Uncle Fluffy. But events over the past years have helped me tap into something that I forgot existed in me: righteous anger. Now I'm going to talk about some hard things today, and some of you may struggle at times. But I hope you will hang in there with me, because while there will be some healing moments, right now you're not getting Uncle Fluffy. Now here's the truth. There are a lot of ministers who can't deliver this sermon, namely men, who can witness and listen, but who don't know firsthand the exhaustion, the fear, the trauma, and the righteous anger of women. So, men, know that what I'm about to say affects you too. And if you are offended by anything I have to say, listen harder. Lean into your discomfort, because I need you to hear that women are angry, and that we've been angry for a long time. We've probably been angry since the first man came out of a cave, saw the woman lighting that morning's fire, and decided to explain to her what fire was. We've been angry since the early church fathers turned disciple Mary Magdalene into a prostitute. We've been angry since Henry VIII decided that a woman who couldn't give him a male heir was expendable. We've been angry for a long time, and it doesn't seem to stop. Every week, there is something more that makes us angry. Even when we join our nation's children and the youth in saying never again to gun violence, something that gives us hope, we also hear that other youth who joined a Planned Parenthood protest were screamed at by an Idaho lawmaker. Now, I, Alec, will add that since this was written in 2018, we've learned of the manifold horrors of Epstein Island and E. Jean Carroll's trial, the election of a convicted rapist by a population that doesn't see a history of sexual abuse, or the silencing of the press as a marker of moral character, and recently, the National Science Foundation was instructed to ban certain new words from any grant proposals for scientific research they receive. Those words include activism, bias, discrimination, female, gender, fostering, justice, status, and of course, woman. Now back to Reverend Debus in 2018. And last week, there was a White House controversy over domestic abuser Rob Porter. And before that, it was actor Mark Wahlberg asking for and getting $15 million for the same reshoot that Michelle Williams was paid a pittance for. And before that, it was women rising up to say Me Too in the naming of their abusers, but not always men in power with more reputations than resignations. Before that, it was the controversy over Hillary Clinton's book, and before that, it just goes on and on. Earlier this week, Everyday Sexism Project founder Laura Bates published her book, Misogynation, which weaves together hundreds of individual incidents that show that they are part of a bigger picture of sexism. Or as she puts it, quote, to try week after week to say, look, there and there and there again. Do you see the pattern? Do you see the similarities? Her site is teeming with stories from women, and more than just a few girls. experience sexism and sexual abuse on the streets, at work, in public, at home. We are worn down. We are worn out. One reason we're so worn out is that holding centuries of anger in check requires a great deal of emotional energy. As writer Laurie Penny says, most women, quote, are pretty good at hiding it, having been taught to do so since childhood. She notes that young women ask how she gets away. She notes that young women ask how she gets away with expressing anger with apparent ease, and that they worry about men's reactions if they'll do the same. They worry about men's reactions to their anger. They worry about what reaction they and their judges will justify because of their anger. That's because the system we live in, this system of white supremacy, which is also a system of misogyny, says that nice girls don't get angry, don't speak out, don't speak up. And when we do, it's blamed on a natural hormonal inexperience. And as Penny points out, jokes about women's menstruation are never just jokes. They are a control strategy. It's not surprising, actually, because angry women appear to be out of control. Sure, women can express sadness and fear more openly than men, and that's a fault of this system of supremacy and patriarchy too. Yes, this damages men too. Though at the same time, women are expected to be emotional, while both men and women are belittled and dismissed for doing so. In speaking about his memoir, How Not to Be a Boy, actor and comedian Robert Webb said that we do damage with the messages we send to young boys about emotional repression. He says, we tell them to man up, get up, don't cry, be tough, don't acknowledge your emotions. And if you keep being told not to express those emotions, it eventually starts to sound like, don't have those feelings, don't feel those feelings. And women get a similar but opposite message. Men can be angry and triumphant. Women can be happy and sad, but when we feel and express a full range of feelings, our emotions break that system. And according to philosopher Kate Mann, the reason this often gets manifested in violent words and actions is that misogyny is about correcting women who refuse to uphold the patriarchal social order, like a shock collar used to keep dogs behind an invisible fence. Misogyny, she argues, aims to keep women, those who are well-trained, aims to keep women, those who are well-trained as well as those who are unruly, in line. Yet the unruliness of women's anger has proven to be a powerful force for social change. Anger over the working conditions that led to the Triangle Shirt Factory fire led to workers' rights and unions. Anger over being excluded from basic rights as American citizens led to suffrage. Anger over the treatment of women in politics and entertainment led to women's liberation. Anger over the exclusion of women of color throughout those movements led to womanist theology. Anger over unequal pay led to the Lilly Ledbetter Act, and anger over the naked misogyny hurled at the presidential candidate led to the organizing power of the Pantsuit Nation, and her opponent's election led to the Women's March. And there's still a lot more to be angry about, because we're not done. In writing this sermon, I found myself wading through my own hard experiences of sexual harassment, then drowning in the stories of others, trying to select which ones to talk about. This could have been a much sadder story. But instead, I found that I could be a little brave by leaning into the stories of women who refused to stay in line and spoke truth to those who would keep them quiet, like Elizabeth Warren, who would not be silenced, angering Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who said she was warned, an explanation was given, and still she persisted. Hell yeah. Like House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, who was forced to interject over a loud conversation between her male colleagues, do women get to talk around here? And perhaps most resonant for me, Congressman Maxine Waters being interrupted by the Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin during a hearing. If you recall the story, Secretary Mnuchin interrupted and tried to avoid the question by distracting with the phrase, by distracting with praise. Representative Waters responded with, "I don't want to take up my time up with how great I am, reclaiming my time." At every interruption, she repeated, "Reclaiming my time, reclaiming my time, reclaiming my time." Again, I could go on and on and on. These public examples of unruly women join the uprising tide of the hashtags #YesAllWomen, #MeToo, and Time's Up, and help women and non-binary folk to be a little braver about speaking out about their own experiences of big and small expressions of everyday sexism. You see, for those who don't know, being a woman in this culture is like running a gauntlet. We're objectified, catcalled, touched inappropriately. Our worth is measured only in relation to our partners and our children, and God forbid we be queer, single, and or childless. We are told we're responsible for the reactions of men, and we're all told by the media, advertising, and politics that we must do everything we can to conform to society's expectation, an expectation grounded in a system that tells us that men's approval is what determines our safety. All women live with an underlying fear that if we say no to the wrong man, we'll be in trouble. And that's not just strangers, but those we know. The number one cause of women's death is domestic violence by a partner. And if you think that we enlightened Unitarian Universalists are immune, you should know that 3 women candidates for UUA president were all criticized for their clothing, their tone of voice, their makeup, their mannerisms. They all fielded questions about the fitness of office, despite all being senior ministers of large congregations, just as their male predecessors. The 2 with young children fielded questions about balancing motherhood and the presidency. That we finally have a woman president is not only decades overdue, it is a product of having an entirely female field. But here's more that we face as Unitarian Universalists. While women ministers are now the majority, they comprise only about 30% of the senior pastors of larger congregations. And you can count the number of trans and gender nonconforming ministers and settled ministries on one hand. And it was just last June that for the first time, a featured speaker at the General Assembly was a trans woman. Speaking again as myself, Alec, I'd like to say that I'm glad that we're making great strides within UUism since 2018. This year, at the Midwest UU Summer Assembly, one of the largest annual summer camps for UUs, we'll be hosting a non-binary UU minister as our guest speaker, and so hopefully that number can no longer be counted on just our 2 hands. Our history is ugly too. Maria Cook is only one example. At the end of the 19th century, Julia Ward Howe organized a group of Unitarian women known as the Iowa Sisterhood to serve churches throughout the Great Plains because it was the only place that women could serve. And while they were deemed successful out west, they were seen as an embarrassment back in Boston, and in the early 20th century, they were forced to retire our work as community organizers. Even now, women ministers struggle to get full-time positions, no less senior positions. And when we're in the pulpit, we get comments on our hair, the length of our skirts, the plunge of our necklines, our accents, our vocal tone, our subject matter. Our pastoral care is read by some as flirty and others as mothering. We are seen as caregivers, not chiefs of staff. We encounter comments like, "May I speak with the real minister?" When we offer our experience, men sometimes come back with, if you want me to teach you that thing you're an expert in, let me know. And God forbid we get pregnant. Yes, in 2018, and if you think even Me Too is only in Hollywood, then sexual misconduct happens in the church too, with young or not so young female ministers experience harassment and abuse from male colleagues. Did I mention we're angry? I told you this wasn't going to be Uncle Fluffy. No, today it's Auntie Maxine. And what's important to remember about Auntie Maxine Waters is that she isn't just telling you what's wrong, but she's also about finding ways to make it better. She wants us to reclaim our time, because this is our time. And this is my last interjection, again here in 2025. I chose to swap out the original picture of Representative Waters, which accompanied this service, with a picture of Representative Jasmine Crockett, who was elected just a couple years ago. She doesn't yet have any fiery quotes that I can put, putting some uppity guy in his place, but she has not been afraid to let people know what she really thinks, and I'm absolutely sure that Reverend Debus would hold her up to as a role model for channeling passion into action. And so, men, I know that you don't want to perpetuate the sexism that permeates this system, and we certainly don't want you to. The beloved community our faith upholds has no space for you to. The husband of one of my colleagues, Christopher Cephalou, offers this advice. To respond to this argumentatively, whether to be as clueless as to not deny the truth of the claims or even subtler, greater forms of redirection and avoidance, is to miss the moment that we are in. In this moment, the women of America are making a tremendous effort to help us if we can only stop talking and listen to them. Here's where the help is. If some aspects of Me Too trigger something in you or makes you feel irritated or angry or defensive or annoyed, try this. Don't do what you always do, what our culture has trained you to do and rewarded you for. Don't immediately raise your voice and try to dominate the conversation. Don't say anything, in fact. What's happening, in case you've forgotten, is that virtually every woman you know is collectively screaming at us to wake up and see what's happening and to join them in making harassment of women not the norm. In order to make that change, in order to get us to hear them, they have to make a lot of noise. We're hearing that noise now. Now don't get rattled. That's good. The future is good to be better. The future is going to be way better. We'll have more connections and understanding and trust, and we won't carry around the guilt and shame and anger. Everyone will be happier, but we gotta earn that happy ending. We have to do our part in making it happen. So can we, all of us, no matter our gender identity, make a difference? I think we can. But we first recognize that this isn't just about women. It is about how thick the walls between groups of people in a system that isolates marginalized people from each other is, pitting them against one another so that powers become soloed. It is about remembering that we have many identities, that we are all intersectional, and when we start dividing people up and treating them differently because of their race or their class or their sexual orientation or their gender, we are relegating ourselves to divided lives. We must listen. We know that when we are doing the work of racial justice, we ask white people to believe people of color when they tell us their stories. We must afford women the same courtesy, whether it's about physical pain, anxiety, microaggressions or harassment, or sexual assault. We must validate women's anger, get angry ourselves. This isn't how things should be, and when we know that every person has inherent worth and dignity, when we know that no one should be outside our great circle of love, and when you hear something, say something. Silence is compliance. And men, use the privilege of your voice to be heard as an ally. We must lean to the stories of hope because the moral arc of the universe does bend for justice. Find hope in Stoneman Douglas High School students like Emma Gonzalez, who are taking the lead in fighting for gun control. Stories like that are a new crop like the yellow roses, a a group of teenaged girls working to demand passage and ratification of the Equal Rights Amendment. We must expand our worship, readings list, music choices, even television and media consumption to include voices that are not our own. We may notice that all of the music and all of the readings today are by women, and that was by design. I did not, I think I may not have, there were a few music selections that I picked by accident that were not written by women, so I should have thought of that. I apologize. But as often the case that men's voices are featured, and it's both bad and easy to fix. It's both bad and easy to fix. And you live into our principles of inherent worth, justice, and interdependence. Follow Abigail Adams' voice and remember the women. Remember us when approaching climate justice, immigrant justice, LGBT justice, racial justice, and of course, reproductive justice, because those are all women's issues, and they are also human issues. And know that we're never going to get it all right all the time. Men, hang in there and be patient with yourself as you learn to eliminate sexist microaggressions in a system that encourages you to do otherwise. Women, breathe. Just do you, no matter what society says. Live boldly. Make your own rules. Be angry, persistent, resistant. Be open and vulnerable. Know that you are whole and holy. And Auntie Maxine modeled, reclaim your time. Thank you.
Our closing hymn is number 170. By the way, thank you very much, Alec. That was a great selection. Our closing hymn is number 170. We Are a Gentle, Angry People, from the Gray Hymnal. Feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you. Please stand in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn number 170. We are a gentle, angry people.
We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our Lord. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our Lord. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing for our Lord. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing for our Lord. We are young and old together, and we are singing for our Lord. We are young and old together,
Today's benediction is taken from Blessing for the Women's March that was held in 2017. This international event made a powerful statement for women's rights and resistance to divisive rhetoric. The movement's greater impact is its energizing of activists, especially young women in the United States and around the world. May you be safe. May you be free from all harm. As the road or skies carry you toward your fellow pilgrims, may you sense the presence of those who travel with you in spirit, whose hopes and hearts are tucked into your pockets, whose name your journey's purpose as sacred, who name your journey's purpose as sacred. May you encounter strangers as kindred, and may that recognition of kinship bring joy to your journey. Whether the faces in the crowd number dozens, hundreds, or thousands, may you not only recognize yourself, but may you also witness a dazzling tapestry of colors, languages, genders, ages, and bodies. Proud testament to and humbling display of our human family. May the crowds be gentle, friendly, and patient. If not, may the spirit of playfulness appoint you its momentary agent. May you offer quiet praise for gestures of kindness. May all bodies, vessels of spirit and soul, be treated as the gift that they are. May the sturdiest of marchers make space for those who need more time, more help, or a different means of moving. Amid the heady flurry of selfies and hashtags, may you remember the commitment that led you there, and what will be required for the road ahead. Gather it all up, Blessed One. Let it feed you. Allow the crowd's electric thrum to seep into you, knitting itself into courage, into holy boldness, into fuel for the journey back and for the journey forward. Namaste. Amen, and blessed be. Thank you, Alec, for sharing your valuable time and the reading with us this morning. It is sincerely appreciated, and we look forward to seeing you again. We will have 10 to 15 minutes for discussion, statements, questions following the service for those who wish to share your thoughts and observations on today's topic. We request that you keep your comments respectful and appropriate and limit them to 2 minutes or less. Please be aware that you will be included on the video that is posted. For the rest of you, you're now welcome to adjourn into the parish hall. Would anyone like to come up and share their thoughts?
Okay. First of all, the song, what was that? We Are Singing for Our Lives. There was a lady who a long time ago started off with, I am woman, hear me roar. Well, maybe the word hear is the word we should emphasize, not necessarily the word, but hear me. And I love thank you, Alec, that was a really great service you did. So a couple of things, and then I'll disappear into the world of an older, hobbling lady. But I'm going to roar a little bit with a few things that seem to stick in my feeling right now. Quotes that come such as, with liberty and justice for all, one quote that you hear a lot. let's keep the all, emphasizing the all. That's important, I think, for us to always put in our thoughts. Another one, I guess, might be united we stand, divided we fall. That can go for human beings, not necessarily just in a country, but oh my goodness, that's important to remember liberty and justice for all wherever we live, but also on our planet. So basically, we as human beings better get it together, or the planet will be here and we won't. But no matter what, please absorb, I think we all did today, the importance of liberty and justice for all. Thanks for listening.
Glad the talk included a mention of Maxine Waters and Elizabeth Warren. Those are my first two picks for president. I'd like to mention a third, Stephanie Kelton, who wrote this book, The Deficit Myth, which I mentioned when I spoke a week ago or 2 weeks ago. Briefly, I've read 9 of 10 books by Paul Krugman, a very noted economist. And then I read this book that he referred to her in his most recent book. She was the chair of the Democratic Economic Advisory Committee in the United States Senate. She wrote The Deficit Myth, talking about the lies that are told to us by both the Democrats and Republicans about the significance of the deficit. And as I mentioned, when I talked about her, when I was just finishing the book, how we print the money that we pay our government employees, so it only costs like 2% of its face value, because the myth is that we have to tax and borrow for the money we get, but the government prints more money than it needs to pay. And so the money is free, and the only constraint is if you overdo that, you get inflation. But you don't have to tax to get it, and you don't need to borrow to get it. But they're always talking about the constraints on expenditure. She wrote this book, The Deficit Myth, in 2020. Talks a lot about Trump and Democrats and Republicans, but she makes clear the logic behind tax and borrow before you can spend. In other words, setting a limit to the deficit is faulty, because actually what the government does is it spends and then it taxes back or borrows back what it needs to prevent inflation. If it goes too much, it taxes and borrows, but for most of its expenditure, it doesn't even need us. It doesn't need to borrow, and it doesn't need a tax. And that fallacy is what the Republicans are going on, to say that we need to get rid of inflation, fraud, but actually all they're doing is trying to raise the surplus so that they can give more billions of dollars to the billionaires. So thank you for mentioning Maxine and Elizabeth. But also keep in mind Stephanie Kelton, because the book she wrote is better than the 10 Paul Krugman book put together. Thank you.
We sort of wind up with a trick that's been running probably since the 60s or the 40s. There was a time in this country where somebody would say, the guys who were in power, the white guys who were in power, were looking and saying, look, I can try and do some good work for blacks in America, maybe women in America, get you all a vote or something, but I can't take care of you both. Being a Unitarian sort of trains you to say, stop picking on people. That one's gay, that one's pagan. That one's poor, black female, poor white female. You keep pointing until after a while you realize there's a continuum, and maybe we should just look out for each other. That's the key to it. It's mansplaining is an annoying habit, and I can see where it would annoy them. But how about the just basic idea of treating each other like humans? I'd rather not see any of you starve today. Maybe we can do something about that. There's food in the fridge. That essentially this thing we do to unperson the other people is something that we can work against, and we can work towards the idea of making them people a bit more. And it may not be that universalism has a dozen different things they're chasing. Maybe it's true, but maybe it's one thing, one humanism that links us all from one to the other. Too bad we're such stupid students.
I just wanted to say that I enjoyed the talk very much this morning. I did want to mention that Bernie and AOC will be in LA on April the 12th in their oligarch tour. So they are coming. And tomorrow at 5:30 at the City Hall, I'll be there. Hope you will too.
Anyone else that would like to make a comment? Anyone on Zoom? All right. If there are no further comments, thank you for sharing your thoughts. Now please join us in the parish hall for further fellowship.